A horrifying fact about American life is the high price of prescription drugs. These drugs are often meant to treat life-threatening diseases such as AIDS and have tripled in price through the last decade. They are expected to double again in the next 10 years. It's a pressing issue in the American healthcare debate, and has caused progressive politicians to push for government price negotiations as well as single-payer healthcare, so-called Medicare for all. Conservative politicians say that it's the regulatory hurdles that add to the price of medicine, and if the prescription drug industry was deregulated, the cost of medicine would drop. What both of these points of view miss is the core reason for why prescription drugs are so expensive in the first place. It's patents, or as the Brits like to call them,
patents.
A patent is a temporary government grants monopoly given to the inventor of a product. Prescription drug patents usually last around 20 years. However, there are certain loopholes that pharmaceutical companies exploit in order to extend their patents. A study from the University of California Law School found that between 2005 and 2015, 74% of new patents went to drugs that already existed. Pharmaceutical companies will make small modifications and use them to extend patents and keep out generic competitors. This is called evergreening, and it's a huge problem with our patent system. Generic competitors often can't afford to get tied up in a lawsuit with big pharmaceutical companies, so often they won't challenge these patents, even when they're clearly not helping innovation. We often debate whether government should interfere in healthcare in order to make it more affordable. What often gets neglected is that the government already interferes in healthcare in order to make it less affordable. Because of government restrictions and competition, Big Pharma can charge dramatically higher prices than they normally would if drugs weren't patented. This is especially true for life-saving drugs. It's for this reason why certain policy scholars are calling for the reform of the patent system. More radical thinkers would advocate patent abolition. I'm one of them. If patents were abolished, prescription drug medications, as well as a lot of other things, would be way more affordable. The beauty is that they would be made more affordable, not through massive government intervention, but through free market competition. People who support patents will argue that they are necessary to incentivize innovation. The problem with this argument is that there are examples of substantial innovation occurring with countries that have weak or no patents. Also, there are examples of patents actually inhibiting innovation. Italy didn't have pharmaceutical patents until 1978, and Switzerland didn't have patents on either pharmaceutical processes or products until 1907. During this pre-patent era, these countries had levels of innovation similar to, if not better than, the UK and the US, which had strong patent protection. To quote Against Intellectual Monopoly by Michelle Boldrin and David Levin, if patents were a necessary requirement for pharmaceutical innovation as claimed by their supporters, the large historical and cross-country variations in the patent protection of medical products should have had a dramatic impact on national pharmaceutical industries. At least between 1850 and 1980, most drugs and medical products should have been invented and produced in the United States and the United Kingdom, and very little, if anything, in continental Europe. Further, countries such as Italy, Switzerland, and to a lesser extent Germany, should have been the laggards of the pharmaceutical industry until recently. Instead, the opposite was true for longer than a century. Finally, there are instances where patents hinder innovation. An example would be in 2001 when Bristol Myers weren't able to do full R&D into cancer research due to patents held on certain genes. In addition to that, patents harm developing countries. It's estimated that had India adopted the same patents for certain drugs that we in the US have, their overall welfare would have been cut in half. So if you believe in healthcare for all, or if you believe in free markets, recognize that you have a common enemy and work to abolish patents.